Hello and welcome everybody. This is your commentator and we'll be back here to more Hearthstone. And like I said in the last video, this is going to be a start of a new series called Hearthstone on a Budget, where I take some of the top decks that have been played in the game, either in tournaments or on ladder or whatever that I find them, and cater them towards the, well, there's going to be two versions of the deck. One deck is going to be for the player who has a majority of the cards but doesn't have all the cards to make the good decks. Like, I'll make a version of the deck, and then if he doesn't have, then I'll say what cards you can replace them with to cater towards the cards that you have. And the next version of the deck is going to be for the new Hearthstone player, for the player who just gets into Hearthstone and this is his first time playing the game, or he's very new to the game but he wants to build one of the top decks but doesn't have any of the good cards, and he wants to know how to build the deck that caters towards him and his cards. So yeah, and as you can see here by the look of my deck lists here, or my decks on the side of the screen here, we're going to be showing off Temple Mage. And Temple Mage is a great deck. It's an interesting deck where you like to use your spells to combine with the Flame Waker to just ping minions, clear boards, and just maintain your advantage the entire game. As you can see, I have my own version of Temple right here, which I might be playing later tonight in our Western Mass Fight Club Hearthstone League Week 6. If you want to join us for that later on stream at twitch.tv/JStreetVideoGames. But first off, we're going to show off the deck that with the Flame Waker, tailored towards the Hearthstone player who might have a majority of these cards, and like a version that I think is best for many players that aren't me, because I like to play cards. I like to play decks that are kind of weird. I like to build meta decks that are still kind of weird, that have special text in it for like the meta. So yeah, let's get into it. The Temple Mage with Flame Waker. This deck, like I said, is really fun. Is really fun to play. You use your Flame Wakers to get your spells, and yeah, let's just get into it. We play. We have two Arcane Missiles. Arcane Missiles is nice because if you have your Flame Waker on board, you deal 3 random damage with the missiles, and then you deal 2 more damage thanks to the Flame Waker, potentially clearing some big boards. Like it's nice to use like against mid-range Paladin with the Muster for Battle, against Face Hunter. So yeah, then we play 2 Mirror Image because Mirror Image combos really well with the Mana Worm, and getting 2 taunt minions and 2 taunt minions is just great. Then we play then we got the 2 Mana Worm here. Mana Worm is a good card in any Temple Mage. Turn 1, you play it, and then if you have the coin, you can coin out Mirror Image, which is why I like it. Because we put all the spells that get our Mana Worm just growing up in attack power, and it's really strong. Then we play 2 Frostbolt. I chose Frostbolt over Flame Cannon because Frostbolt's just, because you never know what Flame Cannon's gonna hit unless there's only 1 minion on board. And Frostbolt is nice because Frostbolt also freezes a minion. It also has a freeze effect, which I like. You can freeze face, you can freeze a minion you don't want to deal with, and yeah, I just like it. Then Unstable Portal, because Unstable Portal is really key in a Temple Mage deck. Be able to buff your Mana Worm, get 2 pings from the Flame Waker, and get a minion to your hand that costs 3 less. So yeah. And then Mad Scientist, because being able to get your secrets on board as quickly as you can is just key in this deck. And then Sorcerer's Apprentice, just so you can play your spells cheaper. Nothing to say more about Sorcerer's Apprentice. And then for the spells that go along with Mad Scientist, play 2 Effigy, because Effigy, being able to use Effigy a backup. Effigy because when the minion dies, you summon a random minion with the same cost. So being able to Effigy your stuff like in this deck, like Azure Drake, Loatheb, and Archmage, and Tinnitus, is just really freaking good in the game. Then we play 2 Mirror Entity again to keep the Temple, which is just why the deck's called Temple Mage. Then we play obviously the 2 Flame Waker, one of the main combo pieces in Temple Mage. Because whenever being able to ping for 2 random damage among all enemies when you play any spell is ridiculous. Because it just gets a lot of esports going. Esports. And then you want to play 2 Fireball, because it deals 6 damage. You can use to hit face to end games. You can use to clear off minions you don't want to deal with. But it is interesting though, because I have seen some Temple Mages not play Fireball because of the fact that Archmage Antonidas is in the deck. And yeah, I'll explain what they've been playing instead of Fireball after I get through this list, and what other cards you can play in this version of the Temple Mage. I'm gonna play 2 Mechanical Yeti because I personally don't play the Mechanical Yeti. I prefer Paladin Shredder because Paladin Shredder gets you another minion when it dies, and keeping minions on board is always key in this deck. But Mechanical Yeti isn't a bad option either, because Mechanical Yeti, when it dies, gets you a spare part, which combos well with the Archmage Antonidas, because the spare part cards are always 1 mana costing spells. Like I said, comboing that with Archmage Antonidas to pretty much trade out your spare part for a Fireball. It's always good. And then we play Tyrannic Healbot because a Healbot, like, you're thinking, why Healbot in Tempo? Just because it's nice to get that health back when you need it. Then there's 2 Azure Drake. Azure Drake draws you a card and gets you that 1 spell damage you might need for your Fireball. You're getting more pings with your arcane missiles. It's just great. Then I play Lotheb because Lotheb is a great temple card in this deck. Being able to essentially shut down your opponent for a turn with spells. You play it, and then your enemy spells cost 5 more. Basically getting you a free turn. And then finally, you want to play Archmage Antonidas. You want to play this card because Archmage, I feel like, is staple in any Temple Mage deck. Being able to, basically when he's on the board, all your spells get the additional effect of adding a Fireball to your hand. So let's say you play Arcane Missiles. Arcane Missiles deal 3 damage randomly to enemies, and add a Fireball to your hand. It's like, what is this when you have Archmage? So yeah, this is like the standard Temple Mage deck that I've seen, and I think is going to be decent for the player who wants to play Temple Mage. However, if you don't have many of these cards, then I'll let you know what to replace. Like, if you don't have, like, some cards you could think about replacing. Like, you can replace the Mirror Image. I've also seen people play Clockwork Gnome, because Clockwork Gnome gives you a spare part when it dies as well. I've also seen, instead of Fireball, I've also seen cards like Toshli. Toshli gets you a spare part when he's played, and then he gets you a spare part when he dies, comboing well with the Archmage Antonidas. Also, you could play cards like the Arcane Blast. If you have access to this card, I would play it, because Arcane Blast is actually a really strong card in the game right now. And I would definitely replace 1 Mirror Image with it, because Arcane Blast deals 2 damage, and then if you have Azure Drake, it gets double the damage, because its other part of the effect is the spell gets double bonus from spell damage. So instead of dealing 2 damage, it deals 4. Which is really good. And then if you don't have Lotheb, I didn't really think about it that much. If you didn't actually get the Next Rammus expansion, and you don't have Lotheb, I mean, then what are you doing with your life? But that's rude. But anyways, I would think that you would replace Lotheb with. Oh well, let me actually look at at some of the cards. They might be legendary, but they might not. Let me just take a look. I don't think you can replace Lotheb, but if you can find a way to replace Lotheb, then let me know. Then Archmage, I think I think it's standard in this deck. However, if you don't actually have Archmage, then I would suggest running cards like Toshli if you have Toshli. I'll show you this. Or oops, I spelled it wrong. Oops. There we go, Toshli. Or you could run. Hold on. Like I said, I wasn't really prepared for looking at this. I probably should have. I didn't. You instead could run Pyroblast if you have Pyroblast instead of Archmage. Even though this is one of the slowest cards you could play in the deck, but I have seen it run at 1. What else could you play? And I knew I had another card that I wanted to talk about in replace of Archmage, but I just don't remember what it was. You could play Nexus Champion Sarad in here if you really wanted to. Adding a random spell to your hand whenever you use your hero power. You can even play Piloted Sky Golem in here, being able to keep minions on board. And yeah, those are just some examples of cards you can replace some of these other cards with. But yeah, now that we're going to get into a version of the deck tailored to the new Hearthstone player. Like, let's say you just start off playing this game, and you don't have many cards, and you want to know what to do if you want to play Temple Mage. You think to yourself, I want to play Temple Mage, but I don't know if I can build it because I don't have Flame Waker, I don't have like Archmage, I don't have Lotheb, I don't have Arcane Blast. So this is the deck that I came up with. We still run the 2 Arcane Missiles and the 2 Mirror Image. We still run the 2 Mana Worm, 2 Frostbolt, 2 Unstable Portal. But now we're running 2 Haunted Creeper. Haunted Creeper is a great minion. It sticks to the board a little bit, because when it dies, it summons 2 spiders, or Spectre Spiders, which is really good. In this particular version, because we're also running Knife Juggler. Knife Juggler in here, in this version of Temple Mage, acts as your Flame Waker. Because whenever you play a minion, it deals 1 damage randomly. And I like that in this version, because you play Creeper and then you play Juggler. Creeper dies, getting you two Juggles from the spiders. And yeah, we also play we still play 2 Scientists, because Secrets is still always a nice thing to have in Temple Mage. But now we're also playing an Arcane Intellect. For the newer player, this card is good because it allows you to draw 2 cards. Because Temple Mage, in any version that you build, you can run out of cards rather quickly, and getting cards back to your hand is always a good idea. Then we still run the 2 Effigy and the 2 Mirror Entity, because they're the 2 best secrets that Temple Mage can run. However, if you don't have Effigy, it's because it is a Grand Tournament card, a newer card, you could run Duplicate in this slot. Because being able to duplicate your Jugglers in this version of the deck is actually really strong. Or being able to duplicate your Mana Worms is also a good idea. Then we play, because it's like I said, this is for the newer player. I do like Kirin Mage in here. Kirin Mage is one of my favorite cards in Hearthstone. Well, I guess because the main reason is because when you play it, it's like, we have many secrets for Dalaran. I just like that when you play an attack with it, it's like, for Dalaran. It's the best. But anyways, Kirin Mage, I like this card because the next secret you play on that turn that you play Kirin Mage costs no mana. So, which is great. Being able to play Kirin Mage and get a free secret is awesome. Then we still run the 2 Fireball, because Fireball is Fireball, and why wouldn't you play it in any Mage deck? Then, like I said, because you're running the Knife Juggler and not the Flame Waker, excuse me. Wow, it's speedy talking. You want to run Piloted Shredder over the Mechanical Yeti, because you play Shredder after you play Juggler. You get a knife throw. And then when Shredder dies, you get a knife throw from whatever comes down, and yeah, it's just really good. And now in this version, we're running 1 heal bot. Like I said, it's not a card you really see in Tempo, but being able to restore your health by 8 is just really strong. Then you still want to run the 2 Azure Drake, because Azure Drake is one of your strongest minions in this deck that you can play, since you're not playing Archmage or Lotheb, or even a card that I'll talk about in a second that I personally run in Temple Mage. And then our final card that we run here in this version of the Temple Mage with the Flame Waker list Temple Mage is Argent Commander. And I think this is going to be a strong card in this version, because Argent Commander is something you don't really want to play at 6 mana. You want to wait to play it rather at like 10 mana, because what you can do with it, you want to wait till you have an established board, because this card usually is used as removal, but it still can be used to push through for that 4 damage if you need to push through for that 4 damage, since it does have Charge and Divine Shield. So yeah, like I said, So that's both versions of Temple Mage that I think are best to be running right now. One for the like a standardish Temple Mage for the player who doesn't really know, like, he wants to build Temple Mage but doesn't know what Temple Mage actually runs. And then this version is the Temple Mage for the newer Hearthstone player. But one card, if you do have it and you want to run it, is this card, Ronin. I love Ronin in Temple Mage because Ronin because he has a cool little death rattle effect. When he dies, you add 3 copies of Arcane Missiles to your hand, and I like this card. It's pretty cool. So like if you're playing this version of the deck, the deck with Flamewaker, and you have Ronin, I would suggest trying to find a way to add Ronin in here. You can also run other cards like I mentioned, like you can also run Dr. Boom in here, which I forgot to mention. So yeah, that's just my 2 versions of the deck, and then again I'm gonna go back in and you can take a look at the decks again. Temple Mage with Flamewaker, and Temple Mage without Flamewaker. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. And look forward to more, just me talking about more decks in the future. And I don't know, I had an idea, but I don't know if I'm gonna do it though. I might show off one game each with both versions of the deck, that I build. Let me know if you want to see that. If you want to see both versions of the deck in action, like the better version of the deck and the decks tailored towards the newer player. So yeah, once again, hope you all enjoyed this video. Comments in your moods. Leave a like and a favorite and subscribe, and leave some feedback, as it's always appreciated. And once again, this has been Hearthstone on a budget, and I'll see you back here for more videos. And once again, this is Comments in your moods. Peace and good night, everybody.